Okay, so yesterday for the video notes, we talked about something called special products. Product meaning multiplying. So there's special ways you can multiply. So you have all of these problems, and then you could FOIL all of them. But oh my gosh, that would take me a while. So there's a couple of tricks that we can learn so that instead of foiling every single one, if you recognize, oh, this is one of those trick ones, you could just do it really fast. So let me show you the two tricks, okay? So the first one is called a perfect square trinomial. So the first one is called a perfect square trinomial. And that's when you have, so I'm going to write the thing first. So when you have like something plus something squared. So like, in other words, something plus something times something plus something. So what that's going to equal then is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So I promise it will make sense. So let's see if there's any perfect square trinomials in here. Darn it, there are no perfect square trinomials. Okay, so will you please fold up your paper? We're just going to do one, okay, because you'll have more on your level work. So let's say I have x plus 7 squared. Okay, so that's my problem, x plus 7 squared. Do you see how it's in the same format? It's something plus something squared. So something plus something squared. So here's the first thing I don't want you to do. You guys are going to see this, and because we just finished this chapter, you're going to be like, oh, take the exponent, distribute. My answer is x squared plus 49. That's wrong. Don't write that down. You can't distribute the 2 like that. And all of you, not all of you, most of you are going to want to do that because we just finished doing that. Now, the reason why that doesn't work, but it worked for something different last chapter was because, what if I had 7x squared? If this were the problem, you were able to distribute, and that would be 7 to the second, x to the second. You could distribute here, but why can't you distribute here? Because do you see how this is a binomial? There's a plus in between, whereas this one, this is a monomial. There's no pluses or minus in between. So if there's no pluses or minus, sure, you distribute away. But if there are, then you have to distribute like that. Hello? Hey. Sure, I can do that if you need it. Yeah. Of course. No worries. Awesome. Cool. Shorts. Okay. I will do that. 7th period. Yep. Bye. Okay. So that's why I can't distribute for this one because there's a plus or minus here, but this one I can distribute. Okay. So what am I going to do then? I could FOIL. What I would have to do is I would say, okay, this problem is really x plus 7, and then I have to FOIL. But oh my gosh, that's going to take me forever. First, outer, inner, last. So since I know that this is a trick, right? Because a plus b squared, x plus 7 squared, I could say, okay, this is A, this is B. So let me just follow this pattern. So my first answer is going to be A squared. So A is X. So my answer would be X squared. And then I would have a plus. Now my next is 2 times A times B. So isn't that 2 times X times 7? So what's 2 times X times 7? 14x, right? So plus 14x. And then the last part of my answer is plus b squared. So what thing here is b? 7. So 7 squared is 49. So boom, there's my answer. I was able to get my answer without even foiling. Some people find it easier to do this. Some people find it so much more complicated. Now, I think you guys right now find it more of a hassle to do because you don't recognize this pattern yet and because you don't know this rule very well yet. But if you do it over and over and over, and then here's a star chart, an algebra star chart. You see how it's right here? Like it says it for you. You can use this rule. You can look at it. You don't have to memorize it. So if you feel like that's easier, then you can use that trick. Okay, so it works with a minus b too. So the only thing with a minus b squared is that there's a minus in between. So let's do that then. Do you see how this is an a minus b squared? That's a perfect square trinomial, A minus B. Because isn't this the same thing as just saying x minus 2 squared? Because it's the same thing, right? So what I could do is I can take this and distribute, or no, I can't distribute because there's a minus in between. But I can use the trick. So this is A and this is B. So my rule is, okay, so my answer is A squared. So what's A squared here? X squared. Now, instead of a plus, we just have a minus. So minus 2 times A times B. So minus 2 times A times B. So what do you think that would be? So what's 2 times A times B? Yeah, minus 4x. And then my last thing is plus B squared. So plus, what is B squared? 4. So boom, there's my answer. I just used this trick, perfect square trinomials, to be able to figure out this answer without foiling. So do you guys think that that's easier or you think it's harder? You can be truthful. I don't care. Okay, so if you find it easier, do it this way. For those of you who are like, I don't really know, I don't really get this, then just foil. Who cares? Just foil then. Okay, I'm just showing you a trick so that if you want to use the trick, use the trick. If you don't want to use the trick, I don't care. Don't use the trick. Okay, but the last trick I also wanted to show you, because there were two of them, is this one. So let me grab a different color just so it is a little bit more clear. Okay, so the last one is called the difference of squares. Difference of squares. So the difference of squares says that A minus B times A plus B. So basically you have like the same numbers, but there's one has a minus and one has a plus. That answer will just give you A squared minus B squared. So let's see if I can find one. Oh my gosh. I can, wait, why didn't I have what? I know, I was just about to say, the starter sucks. Yeah, the starter does suck, sorry. Okay, so maybe let's go to the left. Can you just turn your page to the left so you have a little bit of room? Let's do that. So A minus B, A plus B. So let's say I have like X plus 2, X minus 2. Do you see how this is this format? A minus B, A plus B. Same letters and numbers. It's just one has a plus, one has a minus. So let's write the answer. My answer is A squared. So here's my A and here's my B. So what is A squared? X squared. And then minus. Okay, so what's B squared? 4. Because 2 squared is 4. So that's my answer. I mean, you could FOIL, you would still get this answer, but if you recognize the pattern, then you can just use the trick. That's all, okay? But you can't use this trick every time. Like, do you see how for number 2, do you see how this is not difference of squares? This is also not perfect square trinomial. So for this one, I would have to FOIL. There's no trick here. For this one, is there a trick or do I have to FOIL? You have to FOIL. This doesn't match up with any of these forms. This one, same thing, you would have to FOIL. This one, same thing, you would have to FOIL. This one, same thing, you would have to FOIL. Okay, so if you see a trick, use it or don't, I don't care, but you can't use a trick every time, okay? So go to your level work, please. Online kids, can you go to your level work, please? So open it up. Okay, so then distributed property.
Wait, you can do that too?
Yeah, so remember, FOIL and distributed property is the same thing. So when I say FOIL, if you don't like to FOIL, then do distributed property. Either one. Okay, so for this level work, all you're doing is you are FOILing, distributed property, or using the trick. Can you guys go to number 10, 11, 12? Let's skip that.
So this is just a different way to do it?
Yeah, this is just a different way. For if you can recognize the trick, use the trick. But if you don't like it, then pretend that this is just a review of yesterday and then just do exactly what you did yesterday. Okay, so why don't you skip 10, 11, 12, and I can do, I'll do number 14 with you. Okay, that one looks kind of scary. Okay, but can I just kind of show you what you're doing? So first of all, for number one, like, do not take this 2 and distribute. That is wrong, okay? Please do not do that. If you want to, you can write it out separately. So you can say, oh, this squared is the same thing as saying negative 6p plus 3 times negative 6p plus 3. Like, this is what the problem says. Then you can FOIL or distributive property. Or you can say, oh, this looks like this is a perfect square trinomial, right? Isn't that a plus b? Oh, here you can't see it. Isn't that the same thing as saying a plus b squared? So a plus b and then a plus b, same thing. So if you really wanted to, you don't have to FOIL and you can use this trick instead. So let me just show you one more time with the trick. And if you don't like the trick, fine, just FOIL. It honestly doesn't matter, okay? So I could say, okay, this is A and this is B. So I'm using this perfect square trinomial trick. So I would say that my first answer is A squared. So what is A squared? Well, all of this squared. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. And then p squared is just p squared. So my first part of my answer is 36p squared. And then plus 2 times a times b. So 2 times a is negative 6p times b is 3. So 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Negative 12 times 3 is negative 36. So I would have negative 36p. And then my last part of my answer is plus b squared. So what is b? b is 3. 3 squared is 9. Boom, that's my answer. If all of that was too complicated for you, then just FOIL it. Do what you did yesterday. Pretend that you never learned this lesson. Okay, I'm just trying to show you other options here. So the last one I'm going to do with you then is number 5, okay, out of this. And I'll do the word problem with you. So do you see how for number 5, oh, look, you can use another trick, right? Because this is A plus B and then A minus B. So isn't that the difference of squares, which is this one, right? That's the difference of squares, which is this one. So let's use that trick, A plus B, A minus B. So my answer would be A squared, so 2/3 squared. Oh, geez, I don't know. Calculator. So 2/3 squared is 4/9. Okay, so my answer is 4/9 minus B squared. What is B? G. So G squared is just G squared. That's my answer. If that doesn't make sense to you, you could have FOILed it and you would still get this answer. So it's your choice. Do you want to use a trick or is that too complicated for you? And then you just FOIL or distribute every single one. Okay? All right, let's do the word problem. I feel like it looks kind of scary. I haven't even looked at it and I feel like it's scaring me a little bit. All right, number 14. A circular helicopter landing pad has a radius of 200 feet. Okay, I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe let's draw this. So a circular, that's why I'm drawing a circle. A circular helicopter landing pad has a radius. So radius means from center to the side of 200 feet. So I'm going to label that 200. Okay, then it says red paint inside the circular pad. Red paint covers the outer area evenly with a width of X. So it's saying like I have a border. This is red. Red paint covers the outer area and it has, maybe let me write that in back. It has a width of X. So from there to there, that's just X. White paint covers the inner area. So this is all white right here. White paint covers the inner area. So write a polynomial that represents the area of the circle that is painted white. Okay, so area of a circle, isn't that pi r squared? So area is pi times r. The white area is not 200 and it's not x. Does anyone know what the white radius is just from here to here? Vaughn? Yeah, like if the whole thing is 200 and just that little part is x, wouldn't the white area just be 200 minus x? So 200 minus x. Okay, so that's pi r squared. Okay, so now someone asked a really good question yesterday, and I think most of the online kids had already left. And so, and I want you guys to know, someone was like, why isn't this just the answer? Why do I have to solve it out? If it says write a polynomial, why can't that just be my answer? I wrote it. And so here's the answer. This is not a polynomial. Guys, the definition of a polynomial is that there's no multiply symbols, there's no squared symbols in there. All there is plus and minus. That's why I have to solve it all out. So my final answer for a polynomial would be like 3x squared plus 2x minus 7. Like that's a polynomial. Notice how there's no parentheses. There's no multiplying this by like 2. That's not a polynomial because I didn't solve it all out yet. So I have to solve this all out. Okay, so let's solve it. I have area equals pi times 200 minus x. Oh, can I just take this 2 and distribute like that? No, that's the thing that I definitely can't do. That's the thing that I feel like a lot of you want to do, but I can't because there's a minus symbol in between. So what you have to do instead is go 200 minus x, 200 minus x. And then you would have to either use the trick or you would FOIL it out. Yes, Vaughn? Yeah, you could. This is a perfect square trinomial. So Vaughn, if you recognize that you can use the trick, use the trick. But I don't think that everyone recognizes that there's a trick here. So if you don't recognize that this is a perfect square trinomial, then just multiply it out the way you did yesterday by distributing or FOILing, and boom, you can get the same answer as Vaughn. Okay, and then it says, so after you find out what this whole thing is, remember to take pi and then distribute it to every single piece. And then that's your answer. And leave it as pi. So my answer will be like, I don't know, 40,000 pi minus 7x pi plus x squared pi. Like you don't have to multiply it by 3.14. Pretend that's just a variable. Just like leave pi in your answer. And then for letter B, when x equals 100, so just plug in 100 for x and then solve it out. Put it in your calculator. That's it. Okay? All right. That is all. So again, let me reiterate.